Check 1 2, check 1 2. Mommy on the Rocks, Casey Chops. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at MIA on the Rocks. Follow us on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Today's guest, got the homies in here. Will Calder.
What's up, man?
Mijo. What's up, Pop?
Yeah.
We are here. For the people that don't know, I signed my deal with Power 96. I'm officially with Odyssey.
You're back.
And yes, we are here. And I have two friends I've known for a long time in the radio industry, and we're finally working together again after 7 years. So I'm excited. And I believe, Mijo, right when I left is when you came, bro. Right? So we never really got to work together. I was going to say,
we never, I said it today on the live, where we knew each other because of radio.
Right.
I think because of connections at Hot 97.
Where did we meet? I think we
met through Bonix.
Did
we meet through Bonix?
Did I meet you at the Spin Awards?
Yeah, at the J. Cole listening session, nah? You were there, nah? Or not? I feel like it was...
We were hanging, it was me, you, I think... Damn it, I forgot who else was there, but it was cold. I remember it was in the winter.
Yeah, bro, it was a break. And it was the Sin Awards.
Yeah, I met you at the Sin Awards for sure.
Yeah, we connected through there, and then what was that, 2 years later?
Right, because I hired you in 2017. You left in 2016.
Right.
Okay, yeah. So you were out, you were in.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we knew each other, but when I got here, you weren't here.
Because I just remember you doing the Philly station for Beasley, and we were in the yeah, man. So radio veterans in the game. You guys have been doing it for a long time. I want to touch on each of your stories, and for the people that don't know, on Power 96. Man, I don't even know what the title is called, Will, at this point. Operations manager?
So my title is director.
Jefe, big boss.
Shit, what is my title? Oh, yeah, director of programming and operations.
Okay, so this is and for the people that don't know, Will, you've been in Miami for 10 years, and it's already been 10 years, right?
So I got here, Pio Farrow, who's the program director of Hot 97
Shout out to Pio.
Yep.
Man.
And our voice guy still.
Yeah.
He hired me at Power 96. It was December of 2012. And it was Beasley. We were owned by Beasley back then. And then 2014, we became CBS Radio. And then 2018, we became Entercom. I left for 4 years to go work at Cox Media Group up in Orlando and Tampa. Mm-hmm. And then Entercom became Odyssey. And then I came back just over a year ago now. Okay. So yes, I've been in Florida for 10 years. 7 of those years have been in Miami.
Dope. And Mijo, your story starts. You're from New England, right? You're from the Northeast.
I'm from Rhode Island, boy.
Talk about it. I
need
to make a trip over there. I need to hear them.
Yo, you should though, man.
I've heard great things. I've heard great things.
CX and Kaz have both played improv, and they're like, bro, it's a great city to play in, which is dope to hear coming from somebody that knows what the Miami landscape is like for DJs, and it's crazy out here. Mm-hmm. So for a Miami DJ to go and have fun in Providence, smallest... Bro, we're talking about the smallest state in the country, right?
Yeah.
Capital city, the smallest state of the country, man. Yeah, born and raised.
But I know a lot of DJs that play that market. Then they go to the Lawrence and Master. A lot of the Dominican DJs that go from there to Lawrence.
Yeah,
and
it's a whole connected channel of just Northeast Latinos on the low and Cape Verdeans, which no one knows about Cape Verde.
Damn.
So you're talking a lot of reggae. You're talking reggaeton, kizomba, all of that. Just sexy. It's sexy. But you wouldn't know unless you're out there. Yeah, you wouldn't know.
Yeah, I got to make a stop.
Yeah.
And so where does yours start in radio?
Providence, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, man. Long story short, internship at the hometown radio station that by the end of it all, promotions director, midday host, overnight, street team, all of it. What wasn't I doing? Creating social media accounts for everybody. That led me to Philadelphia, where just started from the bottom all the way up. By the time I left Philly, night show hosts, assistant music director, which they still had those type of positions back then, right? Because what is an assistant music director? Then went to Portland, Maine, where I was the music director, night show turns, PM drive, filled in for AM drive for 7 months because my boss got Lyme's disease. Shouts Delon, my guy. So I had to hold it down. And then in the middle of all that, enter my boy Buster, a lot of people, because radio's super small.
Yep.
Right.
Yo, Mijo, Power has a massive opening right now. This screams you. You're the only person in the country that this belongs to. Send your stuff. And I'm like, nah.
How aware of you with the brand? Like,
I mean, bro, if this is gonna sound too good to be true, but the goal was to always land here.
Really?
The goal was always
Power
here.
specifically,
yeah,
or
man.
just Miami,
you know, growing up, my aunt lived in Plantation, so I was aware.
Oh shit! Okay,
I was aware of Power 96. I was aware of.
When you were
What
in
it was.
Philly, you would send me air checks, which is like, you know,
don't even
audio
remember that. That's
demonstrations
crazy.
asking me for feedback on
Yeah,
like how
true.
to get to Miami. You don't remember that, but every like 3 months I'd get
Yeah.
an email from you.
Yeah, man. I think people don't realize the amount of work and building that you got to do in order to, you know, really create something good in radio. Like, it's
Yeah.
not just you walk in and you're good.
Yeah.
There's years that go into building your career within radio.
Ups and downs,
Yeah, man.
wins and losses.
Yeah, I moved a lot.
things evolving, technology changing,
Facts.
just
Yeah.
methods of way.
Yeah.
And I want to break that down too, because we're talking to you know, just the average person. And
Right.
well, to get this out the way, so Mijo, you currently do, for the people, you do currently afternoon drive.
Afternoon drive, and just anything and everything social,
Right.
creative. I would say,
Right.
I like who
You guys are like Batman and Robin, basically.
Essentially,
you know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So for the people that don't know, you know, Will is the head honcho. He's scheduling the music. He's do you do any on-air stuff right now, or?
I mean, I'll fill in every now and then, but
So you always used to do middays, and then you
Right.
always had your hand in the programming department as well.
Yeah.
And then you went full-time programming and decided to come off the air. What was that? Have you always liked the programming side more than the on-air side?
you know, in the beginning, because I grew up just outside of Chicago. I grew up listening to B96 Chicago, and then from there was in Milwaukee. Went to Milwaukee to New York City for a little while, and then from New York City I came to Miami. And I started as a mix show DJ in Chicago and Milwaukee, and then got on air later, and then eventually fell into programming. I was not early on in my career. I didn't see myself as an on-air jock, but it kind of came a little later, and especially when I was here in Miami. That's when I was consulted by the legendary Bill Tanner. Remember Tanner in the morning here at Power 96? I was on calls with Tanner telling me what I need to do as far as how to present myself on the air.
Wow.
And like I didn't realize the magnitude of that at the time, but with his coaching, P.O. Farrow's coaching, Dom Theodore, another legendary name in our game.
Facts.
Just they kind of taught me the essence of being an on-air personality. Now, granted, I never really did mornings or afternoons. I did middays and nights, but and then kind of transitioned into the programming space. But just being around those kind of hotshot personality growth people really kind of helped hone who I am. And I'm proud of like what I've been able to do with the talent that I work with in my career. And it's like a passing on that knowledge. Again, things that Bill Tanner has said to me about what we do on Power 96 still resonates with me today as we make decisions and we talk about how to present things on the air and evolve. So
That's crazy. He's like the Oracle, Bill Tanner, bro. That's
really is.
he's like the birth of the
100%.
vibe.
The
so like,
Oracle.
you have to like consult him. You know what I mean? Like
That's so true. Wait, but I feel like Will's also kind of a little humble right here because his wild card is his production skill.
Oh, yeah.
This man is a
left that out.
master.
I did leave that out because I don't really do it as much
He
anymore.
is a master at that. Like, you know, people have ears, right? A lot of us in music, you know, that consume, like, that are just audio driven, like, we have good ears. This dude got master ears, though.
Yeah.
Like I don't even think
you.
I've ever told you this, like, on some one-on-one, but, like, sometimes like, when he first got here, he was producing different things. I'm like, bro, this is crazy. Like, I wish I knew how to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know the basics of it. Like,
Yeah.
so this is, like, an all-around...
yeah.
Bro, got it. You know what I'm saying? And that's
Thanks,
what I'm
man.
saying, man. Radio is, you gotta know more than one thing, man.
Yeah.
You have to. You
I
have
feel like for me, what made me fall in love with radio, especially with Power, is just the imaging. Those things
Yeah.
made me fall in love with it more because you like glitter the whole sound with, you know, like. And I want to talk to the Will about just, you know, the science of radio, because we're talking to the average person, and
Right.
let's say the average person's gripes.
Well,
are-
first, and I don't mean to interrupt, but
Right.
when we say we're talking to the average person, well, what is imaging? Well, imaging is all the stuff you hear in between the songs.
Right, all the cool glitter and the
Right,
sound effects and the "Have you seen my bikini top?" and the little
Yeah,
Joe and
yeah.
the, you know. But So a lot of people, the average person might say radio plays the same songs all the time. And what they don't know is like, radio and the rotations of music, it's a science to it. There's data, there's research that happens. So a lot of times we don't play these songs because we personally want to play the songs all the time. We play the songs because they're researching well and they test well. And it's like if you're playing a game of spades, you want the best spades in your hand, So like we just got to find out what songs are the spades and play the spades so we could win. We're trying to get revenue here. A lot of people don't understand the business of radio,
Yeah.
So you, like you said, you kind of fell in love with the science of radio, which got you into the programming side of things. Can you kind of break that down too, how you would just explain to the average person the science and the things you go through on your end? So
when we're thinking about what music to put on the radio station, and all of this has evolved over time, back in the day, it used to be, record and album sales. And today it's streaming and what people are consuming on TikTok. But you gotta remember that radio is a mass appeal medium. We have to make sure that we're bringing as many ears to what we're doing as possible in order to get the ratings, and the ratings translates into revenue. And when we're able to get the ratings and revenue shooting, we're able to put positions out there and hire you back. You know what I mean?
Feed families.
And that's how this thing works. So when we're looking at, the 10 to 15 heavy rotation songs that we play each week, and then let's start there. Well, you motherfuckers play the same damn songs over and over. If I hear Miley Cyrus "Flowers" or "Creepin'" by Metro Boomin one more time, I'm gonna hurt myself. But the point there is, you got to remember, like, the average person doesn't move as quickly as we do. Us,
the enthusiasts.
We're the music snobs. We're in the industry,
right?
So when we've heard a song 100 times, we're done with it. The audience has probably only heard it 5 or 6 or 7 times at that point. So we got to remember, we're always moving slower, and we're looking at, what's researching. We have something called call out research. And it's basically, if you've ever taken a music survey where they play 10 seconds of the most popular piece of a song, and then they'll ask you, do you know this song? You'll say yes or no. If you don't know it, then the song is called unfamiliar. If you know it, then they'll ask you, okay, well, on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being you love this song, 1, you hate it and you never want to hear it again, how would you rate that song? And then you'll get a number. And then, we are polling people every couple of weeks on all the songs that we're playing. So we take that data. Now, that's not the be all end all. That's kind of the science, but you also have the art of it. So we're taking a look at streaming. We're looking at what's Shazamming out there. We're looking at, what songs you're reposting on your reels.
Collecting all the data and research and hard proof that, you know what I mean? Because these aren't emotional decisions that are made. It's not a personal, I like this song. It's data driven because we want to win.
And we have to play those most popular songs over and over as heavy as we can, because you come to us for those most popular songs. Right. If we're playing Will Calder's favorite playlist or Mijo's favorite playlist, we would have no ratings. We'd be out of business. We'd be done.
Exactly.
So it's all very strategic. And that's kind of in a nutshell how it comes together.
A lot of people would also say that radio isn't relevant anymore. Could we speak to that as far as, the cume? We'll get geeky with our radio talk, but for the people that don't know, the cume is how many people basically come into the store, right? How many people come to Power 96 in a week? And what is that number right now?
Well, cume stands for cumulative. If we're getting geeking, and it's about 500,000 people a week in this market. You said
it's
Miami.
You're talking Dade County, Broward County, Palm Beach County,
the Tri-County,
right? Yeah. Within those three, it's right. And again, like, I don't know that saying radio is not relevant. I think that radio will forever be relevant. Right. It's just we're battling non-consumption of radio.
Right.
Which is our generation, the younger generation that's like, man, I got whatever I'm bumping on Spotify,
too many
Apple,
options. Decision paralysis,
right.
bro.
Yeah, exactly. Well, or people just driving like, man, I don't want to hear nothing.
And so this is kind of a good pivot from our conversation we just had about music, because listen, yes, Power 96 is all radio stations that play music. That's the foundation of what we do, is we play music. But because there's so many other options out there, I think, we've got to step up our game and kind of go back to the way it used to be, way back in the day when personality ruled the radio waves.
Exactly.
We've got to get back to that, because our music is special, but I think our people are more special.
Is that the music cheapened because it got because it's too exposable now. It's too easy to get it now, But I wanted to just disprove people. So all the people that say, radio's dead or people don't listen to radio, be clear. There's 500,000 people that listen to Power 96 every week. So,
let's be even clearer. If your voice gets on that radio, if you hear somebody on that radio that you're going to be like, oh my God. Yeah. Right. And chances are people are listening to the radio. It's just it be in the background. So subconsciously they're not, but it's there.
And let's be clearer. And there's still labels and the biggest artists around the world still want and call and have their teams hit up radio stations to please play our song. So the biggest artists in the world are whether it's Travis Scott and he just came out with his new album. There's people reaching out to radio from his team because they want spins, because a spin 100%. Is valuable. So for anyone that says radio is dead, you're wrong.
Like I've been saying this for a couple of years now, right? Well, at least ever since I started PM Drive. Like, I mean, this was always clear to me with radio, but in the last year and a half, it's become clear. Like, radio is an audio platform that allows you to build community for the community that you're serving.
Yes.
So not only are you serving your community...
That's a clip, Mijo.
Dog, but not only are you serving your community, but you're building a deeper knitted community within that community. So it becomes a sub of it, right? Which I think, in my opinion... Power is a heritage station. Yes. Power has a built-in community like no other.
Generational.
Yeah, right. And within that, if you play the game correctly, because let's keep it real, it is a game, right? Then you're able to build your own unique community, which is what we need, how we should be looking at radio in 23 and beyond, right? Because to get to what Will said, you got to get back to just being real with people, bro. Like, I'm no celebrity. Man, my pockets are tight, just like everyone else's. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're a celebrity. Come on.
Nah, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm figuring out what it is to be a dad.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I struggle. And I think that if we treat radio authentic, like the reason why you're successful here is because it's authentic.
Right. It's the opposite of what people are consuming on social media, TikTok. It's all their highlights.
Exactly.
There's no vulnerability. It's all just a show, like showing off. Man. And
let's take social media for a second, because you hit on something that we often kind of have to frame and remind people in radio when we're distracted with all of the other options out there. Radio is the original social media.
Right.
People came to us to find out what was going on in their community. People came to us to find out when shit's going down in the community.
Right.
People came to us to find out what's hot. People came up to find out, where to go to eat, we were the original social media. Our phone lines were the DM, Sure. The jocks on the air were the original influencers. So all of this stuff that we see on social media today, we've been doing this on radio for 50 years.
There's a pivot in Power musically. Can you talk about the vision for that? And
so we've done what we like to call homework. Meaning,
actually, I'm sorry, Will, to cut you off. Yeah. Can we go through the different eras of Power musically first? Because I think that'll be a fun thing to do before we arrive at the present time.
Yeah.
When I got to Power, when I growing up with Power, it was kind of always like, I wanted to say the hip hop station for the Latin audience.
Right.
It was that type of vibe, and it was very heavily, tied to the street and to the community. It was just what everything we said about radio used to be. It encompassed all of it, from the jocks to the music, to the events, to the imaging, to everything. So Power went through some changes after it got sold. And then there was an era from like 2010 to maybe 2014, maybe, where we were super pop. I'm off in that?
Yeah, you're on. I think the timeline's a little off because I got there in 2012 at the beginning of the Pio Farah era. So there was a hip hop era from like 2010 to 2012. That's right before I got there. Because I remember when I got there.
That was the Jill era.
We love Jill Strada, though.
Hell yeah, bro.
She was amazing. Listen, although, to give credit where credit's due, Jill acknowledged that and did try to move it more into a rhythmic space and get out of the urban space. But when I got there, the research we had at the time, the homework said, hey, you're creeping too much on 99 Jams. You're not going to out 99 Jams. So get back in your Hispanic lane. So during the Beasley days from 2012 to 2014, when Pio Farah was the program director, our goal was to really get back into that Hispanic culture, that Cuban culture that really, the DNA of Power 96. And I think we did a good job with that. And again, the competitive landscape was a lot different back then, really, when it comes to,
and the music cycle too. Like that was the that was like the EDM era.
Yeah. So like, here's the beauty of Power 96 over the years is it's a radio station that's not. It's designed to be able to wobble back and forth.
Yeah, with the pendulum.
Times.
Yeah.
We don't say, we're, Miami's pop station or Miami's hip hop station for a reason, because we're allowed to.
The party station is sometimes the party looks different.
The party's always looking different. Yeah. So from 2012 to 2014, that was that Beasley, Hispanic DNA era of the radio station, a little bit of reggaeton, some hip hop, a lot of EDM, because we were at the beginning of that EDM festival explosion where it was all Afrojack, Martin Garrix.
Right.
And then CBS Radio took over in 2014. And then listen, like we talked about before, radio's a business.
Right.
And when you change companies, every company has a slightly different mission statement.
Right.
And CBS came in with a different mission statement. And part of that was to get on the top 40 network. Now, what I mean by that.
And from my angle, what it did was it really corporatized, if that's even a word. It made radio corporate, because Power, I think what made Power thrive so much is because it wasn't it wasn't a big radio company.
Right.
So they were able, it's like a smaller ship. It's more, you can move and make moves quick. There's not a big corporate process to get things done.
Right.
There's not so many rules, and that comes with a certain energy as well, So in that era, when Power went from Beasley to those golden era Beasley days to when it got sold to a more corporate company, that's when you really felt the energy shift, along with the music cycle and things of that nature, But what are you going to do? You gotta play the hand you're dealt. So,
and it's interesting that you say that, because I remember there was challenges during that era with the staff, because most of you that have been at Power 96 for a very long time knew was that kind of mom and pop era of the radio
cocaine
station.
on the turntables, Will. Like, what do you mean?
I ain't speaking to that. I wasn't. Oh man. Listen, I am blessed and honored that I got a little bit of that era, not the cocaine on the turntable era, but like,
I got stories, baby.
Those early days.
Yeah,
I mean,
but radio was different back then.
Radio
the whole industry was different back then.
I remember coming straight from the strip club at 6 a.m. to do the morning show, and then sleeping during spots, and then waking up the host. I won't say waking up 30 seconds left in commercials. Wake up, hey, Power 96.
But that's golden era radio. That's golden era radio.
Golden era, like
because we were out here, bro.
Yeah, people were doing the most illegal shit. I'm talking about like at 4 a.m. The promotion staff in Coconut Grove getting a pizza. They're like calling in, yo, we want to shout out this pizza so we get this free pizza. They're running like calls like at 4 a.m. Like,
I can only imagine what Miami
crazy.
Was like,
it's just no holds barred, no rules. Like there was beauty in that. The live broadcast that was always a fabric of Power 96. The first time I ever DJ'd was in a live broadcast, and that was a big thing that just made Power seem like it was on the street too. But I'm sorry, you were going to continue on the corporate.
No. Listen, I mean, radio, in my opinion, was never, and I got to be careful because we work for a big company now, but radio was always meant to be a mom and pop business, which served its community. And of course, listen, we all know how the corporate world has sort of grown and exploded over the past 10, 15, 20, 30 years. And the way as the world has evolved, the way you kind of get there with corporations is to get that scale. So the problem with Beasley, now Beasley didn't just say, all right, we're done, we're out. They got out because they saw where things were going. And actually, if you look back at how everything has played out, which is how the market has changed and where the dollars have gone.
They made the right move?
They got out at the right time.
Oh, wow.
So
when you sell is important, bro. Equally when you buy, bro.
It's all a business. You know what? They did what they needed to do. Because I remember back then, and you remember this too, I'm sure, Beasley would always talk about how Power 96 is doing and the country station in Philly that they had, XTU, how those two radio stations did, how they built, how much money they made, that dictated how healthy the company was. So they needed to diversify and get scale to get themselves into a better financial position. And part of that was getting out of Power 96 and getting out of their Philly operations.
Yeah, I do remember those conversations.
You know what's crazy? When I was 16 years old, I literally almost moved to Philly. My mom almost went to the country station in Philly.
Bro, hey, can we talk about...
They took her on a tour of the place, a neighbor. They were looking at houses. She didn't do it, but I almost ended up like going to high school in Philly, bro.
Only because you dropped your mom, legendary. We're not even going to say her name, bro. But I said this today in a meeting. Yo, your mom is top 3 best human beings I've ever met in my
100%.
life. I will never forget when I first moved here. the welcome that she gave me.
Why do you think I'm single and I can't find a girl, bro?
Because she
I
set
have
the
my
bar
mom
high, bro.
as like a bar, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, man. She is,
You know?
she is salt of the earth, that woman, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, man, she the best.
Yeah, man.
And she's been one of your
amazing.
biggest cheerleaders
And
right now
she's
with you being back on the air.
Yeah.
Power. It's been good to see that.
Yeah,
Talk
yeah.
about like legendary. Has she moved to XTU? That would have been crazy.
Yeah, that would have been
but
crazy.
But regardless, man, I
Yeah.
mean, she held it down here.
Yeah.
And is a name forever down here.
Growing up, man, radio, I loved it, bro.
Yeah.
You know, thank God I didn't I could have left high school and played basketball in Wisconsin, like D2. And I was like, okay, I'm an intern instead at Power and just answer the phones, bro. And it was like, thank God I didn't do that other route of like going to college. I know that I'm kind of anti-college people, you know, I think it's a scam. I'm not the political correct guy. You know what I'm saying? More people it's getting more expensive and more people get degrees every year. So that's just going to make the value go down. But thank God I didn't go that route. And I had my mom who was supportive in me going to SAE because she went that vocational school route. Like learn a trade. Like, you know, like if you're passionate about it, do it. And thank God I went that route, bro. You know, because I was like, DJ Laz was like my college.
Yeah.
I went to, you know, like.
Which, I mean, to finish that thought off, like, I think, you know, if you're watching this, you're like, man, I want to do radio, right? Like, I feel like, man, like, it's really, I don't think you can go to a school to get the knowledge that you need in order to do what we do without having interned or just be in the building or just do it on your own.
I think that's the key right there. I think we're in an era right now to where anyone could really just stream and start a broadcast. This was unthinkable, like when radio, you know, like even 15 years ago, you know, 20 years ago. So I think it's important to kind of like build your own brand and start your own thing. And it's kind of like music, like the labels are, radio stations are like record labels to me. Right. And the jocks and the DJs, those are like artists to me. So it's like now when you're running a label, you kind of want them to have their own thing going on before I support their music and invest in their music. And I feel like radio is kind of transitioning into that too. Like you kind of got to be an influencer and kind of, you know, to where when you join the team, it's a smooth, you know, you kind of went through the trials and tribulations, you know, like you've proven yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I think
especially in a market like Miami.
Yeah.
Without question.
Where do you guys see the market of Miami going? It's a great like segue. Like,
you want to take that first?
You know, I think kind of getting to where we are, like with the journey of Power 96 and the various eras. You know, one of the things that I think when we did our homework about the changes we recently made with Power 96, I think some of the things that we saw in that homework kind of surprised us as to where things were going. Because I think one of the challenges that we face with music and like what's a Power 96 song and what's not a Power 96 song, well, you got to really go back to the whole beginning of the streaming era and really the whole digital era where we in the industry, whether we're DJs, club DJs, radio DJs, whatever, we still put music in different boxes. What's a hip hop song? That's a pop song. That's a dance song. Where the general average music consumer, they listen to everything now. And that's because they have every song ever released right here on this phone. So the benefit of, well, you know, this radio station is going to be in this box and this radio station is going to be over here. Those lines are so blurry now because the music it's
blending. Hip hop is like pop now. Yeah, pop songs sonically sound like hip hop songs now.
You got Morgan.
That's
what I'm saying. Morgan Wallen got the Morgan Wallen record right now got an 808 on it. I heard it the other day. I'm like,
that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Bro. That's nuts.
But, I mean, it goes hard, but you know what I mean.
To your point about where's Miami going musically, well, I hate to say, I think, and you've talked about this on your podcast before too, I think Miami's losing some of its Miami. Because when you're looking at the streaming records that are being streamed right now in this city, you got the Travis Scott Bad Bunny record, but you also got Morgan Wallen. You got
Morgan, the country. So for people that don't know, so are we just talking about the market or just Miami?
No, we're talking about Miami.
Okay, Miami-Dade County.
Miami-Dade County. You can the data we get, we can zero in onto what's being streamed in this community.
So one of the top streaming songs right now in Miami-Dade County is a country song, Morgan Wallen.
But here's
super interesting.
But is that surprising though? Because all right, so as someone that's not from here, when I first moved here and I went to my first chili cook-off, if
Broward County was included, that's why I asked him. If Broward County was included in that data, it wouldn't be surprising.
But let's keep it real.
It doesn't matter. You can go to county to county. It's all the same.
If you're in Pines, you lived in Hialeah at one point in your life.
Yeah, but I think the demographic, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive the demographics are very different from Broward to Dade. I think Dade is like 70, almost 70% Hispanic. And then once you go to Broward, now you're like in the United States again. But now it's like, you know. Like,
but you're talking different generation now too, man. These kids are messing with country. And country is
that's
kind
interesting
of,
to me. I wouldn't.
Country
I wouldn't know.
is. I mean, if we're being honest, it's kind of mainstream and super pop.
It really is.
In my opinion,
It really is.
You know,
How are the? Are the country stations doing good?
Country
in general?
actually in the recent data we just got,
Killing
his
it.
country is up there.
Like
country is up
or
there.
like just in the genre, the format in general.
Format is strong
up.
right now. Yeah,
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think a country song could ever cross over onto Power?
bro, you had one, Old Town Road. You're telling me that's not a country record?
You're correct. You're correct. You're correct.
That already happened.
You're correct. That's a fact.
Like that happened already.
So then this leads into the next question, which we have the answer to now, but we were kind of debating with before we did our homework. Is there an expectation to hear a Morgan Wallen on Power 96 if it is the biggest record in the city?
Yeah, if this was 10 years ago, I would have lost my shit. But like now, it's like you could if.
But I still think I don't know that it's expected of. This is where I land. I don't think so.
Yo,
because I think that the real P1, right, the person that frequents Power all the time, is like, this ain't it.
Yeah.
You know what the first it basically was country to me that Power played back in the day, and I was so angry, bro. I was angry for like 10 days, bro. I don't remember what year this was, but don't wake me up.
Oh yeah,
Yo, I was so angry, Mijo, bro. I don't remember what year that was. That was during the EDM Avicii era.
2014,
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, what's going on? And that shit blew up.
Yeah.
Blew up. And I'm just like,
We used to have mixer meetings, and like I remember that song came up, and like all of you were so angry, like we're not playing.
I was
this shit up.
disgusted,
Like,
bro.
what are we fucking doing here?
Yeah.
But in the end, it was the number one record.
Yeah.
But do you think there's ever, this is a great question, but like, do you ever think there's a time when you don't play a record that's researching for the sake of like keeping a sound consistent or keeping like a certain.
So to your point, if you're looking at, again, the data, and we're balancing the art and the science here, at the top of the charts right now, you got some Taylor Swift songs, you got the Olivia Rodrigo Vampire. We're not playing those on Power 96 because our homework answered the question, which confirmed that our gut said, no, the expectation isn't to hear a Morgan Wallen song or a Olivia Rodrigo song on Power 96.
I think Taylor Swift.
What is the expectation? Can we?
I mean, like, I think if we're drawing the line in the sand, I mean, let's keep it real. The pop station in market is supposed to play that. Power should not be like, look, Taylor Swift is massive. I'm not taking anything away
That
from
was
Taylor
another
Swift.
when Power started touching those. I was gritting my teeth.
But okay, for you, think about how many other people, right? Because that's why to go back to like, man, like Power has a built-in community unlike no other that expects the most from a brand that they love.
This community put them onto Pitbull, put them onto Flow Rider, put them onto Pretty
that's
Ricky,
what I'm saying.
put them onto, put them onto Kevin Little, put them onto like, and you know what I loved about Power? And when the ratings, I mean, we could get super geeky with our talk right here, but like when the rating system changed, that's another big thing that really, I think it was a chink in the armor to Power's like brand, because we always used to dictate what was hot.
Yeah.
So Power had a plate and it was like dance music is the vegetables for the dinner, and then the meat was like the hip hop music, and then the reggae was like the dessert, and then the reggaeton, the little Latin was like the side, and we always served a piece of everything. And then when we didn't have like we don't have any good vegetables right now, people would make phone calls and be like to different artists, hey, we need vegetables, or producers. And the producers would cater and make a song to Danza Goduro. Well, we need some vegetables. All right, quote, we need a Danza Goduro crossover. Let's create the void that we're missing. We'll create it.
Yeah.
But then that's when shady dealings start to happen and things get a little tricky. You know what I'm saying? But that's what created Pretty Ricky. That's what created so many things, because there was a void needing filled, and Power went out and sought out the missing slice of the peat.
So that you bring up a great point, because let's explain that to people who don't really know how radio works, or at least the ratings. And I don't want to get too deep in the ratings because we're all employed and we ain't trying to lose our jobs. But the rating changed. So what happened? Back in the day, it was a diary-based system.
Pre-07.
Pre-07. And that's where you basically wrote down what you listened to. Now, if we know something about human behavior, sometimes what you say you did isn't what you actually did.
Right. It's what you could recall.
It's what you recall. So that's why back in the day it was always like Power 96, Power 96. You had to beat that radio
in the
station
street
name.
Billboards, like van hits on Coconut Grove while people are outside just to see the logo, because when the logo was in the street, that played well to having to for people having to recollect
It doesn't matter if you listened all day or not. You wrote down that you listened from 7 a.m. when DJ Laz was on the air all the way till 9 p.m. Today, when it went more digital, you got away from the paper diary system, which is kind of like an honor system, to real-time metrics in a sense where a device is just listening to the radio stations and tracking your real-time usage.
Right.
So there was discrepancies there in a sense. What used to happen wasn't reality. What we said we were doing wasn't what was actually happening.
Yeah, it's crazy to think like because we got real time. How could you not like real time metrics? But there's like benefits to like not real time metrics. It sounds crazy, but like, you know, like
when you turned off a song,
sometimes having every single piece of data for every single move you make. Is you drive yourself crazy. Then you start having knee jerk reactions and start changing things all the like, you know. So there's definitely benefits in both methods, you know. But
that's I think where, and this is radio in general, not Power 96, because I think when you went from that old system to the new system, well, the new system basically said, well, listeners are turning off half that shit you do, so stop doing it.
We explained the diary method for the people listening. Let's explain what that transition to, the PPM, it's basically. PPM, so the way ratings are measured in radio is you wear a certain beeper, and the people that wear the beeper reflects the complexion of the market. And you get ratings that way, but you have specific ratings. We could see when someone turns a song and what song they turned. So now we're getting data saying people are turning off this song. So now maybe we shouldn't play this song. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we get more specific data than it used to be before 2007. But so all these are, you know, calculated moves and nothing is made with emotion and just research driven decisions. So there's a new rating system and we have a bunch of new research and Power is pivoting and we have a new direction musically that we're going in. Can you elaborate on that vision?
Yeah, so it goes back to that homework we've been talking about. We basically went out there and asked, you know, Power 96 listeners what they want. And there's kind of two major findings from music there. First of all, and I think, you know, we can take this into, you know, what you do in the clubs too. It's like current music just isn't hitting like it used to. It doesn't resonate as much as it used to. People aren't into just new music. And I have some theories on why that is. We all do.
That's a whole That's a whole
nother podcast. So they tend to remember the glory days of Power 96 that we just spoke of. And to them, the sweet spot is kind of like 1995 to 2015, hyper focused on, you know, 2000s to 2010. So when you're listening, we kind of started playing some more of those older Power 96 throwbacks because that's what the audience wants. Now, we're still playing some new songs. We're not going as deep on new music because, again, the audience has said, we don't care. Now, again, we still want to be good partners with our record label friends and we want to break music when we can. But it's not like just like when you're spinning the clubs. You're not going out there to drop the biggest new record every night you play because it doesn't matter as much as it used to. Nobody cares.
Right.
So in a nutshell, that's kind of where we are.
Okay. Anything you want to add to that, Mijo?
And there are no good new records to begin with.
Yeah. It's crazy,
so
bro.
Like,
why I mean, we don't have to dive too deep into that, but why do you think that is? You said you had some theories like it.
It goes to the fact that, you know, we all grew up going to a record store to buy our favorite music. Kids coming up today don't have that. They have every song ever released on their phone.
It's cheap, and I compare songs to like memes now.
Yeah,
it's so cheap, and now it's like let's laugh at this meme for a week, and now what's next?
Well, that's the thing. It's the turnaround is too fast, and then the pre-release is way too hyped up.
That's another thing. Looking back in retrospect, that's another thing that radio was great at doing is it controlled the tempo of the whole industry.
Right, facts.
It was like when the industry wanted to speed up. No, we're still on these songs. Like you guys could wait. Like we're gonna control the tempo. You know.
Like I'm not trying to talk down on this artist, right?
Oh, here we go. Let's go. Let's go. But, I'll add him on the clip.
But how do I go from constantly consuming Travis Scott? I haven't heard that album at all because not one record has crossed my path where like, oh, I need to peep that.
Right.
Now, also, I understand my listening habits have changed.
Right.
But like,
there's nothing. What do we blame that on?
But there's nothing, the hype behind it. And I also do think that like, give me one good song, not an album, bro. Like, this is why Bad Bunny is Bad Bunny.
Right.
In my opinion, because he does a really good job of sprinkling some records, and then I mean, granted, he ruled all last summer.
Yeah, that album.
I mean, every cut off that album was a hit.
Yeah,
but like he does a good job of keeping you entertained with like Where She Goes. That's probably one of the biggest songs in the club right now, right?
Yeah,
there's no way, right?
Yeah.
That's all he's pretty much done this year.
There's like a whole 140 set right now. That Jersey set, 140 BPM set is you got that one. You got the French Montana does the drop.
Oh,
the
yeah,
one
yeah,
that,
yep.
the Lil Uzi Vert.
Yeah.
That's another like 140. The Fuck It Up Challenge. So there's like in the club,
That's
there's
crazy.
like a little five song set of like that Jersey doom of that 140. So yeah, that's like a sound that's working right now, you know.
And look, don't get me wrong. Maybe you're listening to Travis, right? Maybe I'm the old man. I don't know. But like I listen to a lot of music, and I'm just like nothing has called me to. Let me peep that. And the records that I have heard,
It's
are
not
like,
just you, bro. That's what I'm saying. It's not just you.
Yeah,
you know,
what I
like
mean? Like, so I don't know, man.
Well, we'll take it into deeper fundamentals because, you know, when you go back in history and the synergy of the radio and record industry, and everyone talks about the gatekeepers. Well, we are now in a world where the gatekeepers are no longer gatekeepers.
There's no rules.
There's no rules. So
is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well,
that's the thing.
I think we're going through that right now, and it's a bad thing in a sense that there's no hits. So think of it this way. You know, the radio and records and MTV generation, all that hype machine you spoke of, TRL dictated to the community what's hot. Again, radio could play a shitty song over and over and over. MTV could put it in a situation and make you love a song. That's gone. The consumer has full control, and we're living in a world where the consumer has full control, and the result, in my opinion, is not great. Now, I don't want to knock the consumer. Let them have control. But it's kind of like what's going on in the streaming TV world. Like what you're watching on Netflix or Hulu or whatever is different from what I'm watching, and it's different from what he's watching. Same thing's happening in music now. You're on your own musical journey. I'm on my musical journey. You're on your musical journey, and there's nobody converging in the middle. And the few songs that are converging in the middle are the Miley Cyrus Flowers, Creepin', the 5 hits that we've had this year.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on here is we don't have hits anymore because nobody's on the same page anymore musically.
Yeah, everyone's in their own world.
Right.
So do we blame AI for keeping us in our own worlds?
Damn, bro.
Do we take it there?
Here we go.
Because that's at center of it.
Yeah.
Because there is no algorithm. Your algorithm is AI.
Yeah.
Wake up to that.
That's crazy.
That has been curating off of your behavior for years.
We were saying this off before we recorded the podcast, but I think social media is going to be like our generation's cigarettes. Like we're not going to realize how bad they are for us until like 20 years. And it's like, oof, you got social media cough or social media vision,
or
and you're blind or some wild shit. Like, you know, like who knows, bro? We're like, we were saying, like back in the days, if you went too close to the TV, your mom would be like, get away from the TV. You're going to go blind. Now we got a whole LED screen like in my face 3 inches away. Like,
I think even deeper from a social perspective, like just lack of human interaction.
Yeah. You got a whole generation of people coming up that this life is all they know.
the form of communication is completely changing with the way humans communicate.
Yeah.
That comes with good and bad things. You know?
Look, it comes with marvelous things, and it comes with it's bad as well. But I feel like that's a whole nother.
Yeah.
You brought up a good point earlier, Chops, where, you brought up a point earlier about like,
We were talking about the craziest thing about AI is that truth is going to get distorted.
Yeah, that's it.
And we're not going to know what's real and not.
Yeah.
So my thought on that is, think about it. Like, and we were talking about this earlier too, is up until about a year ago, like AI was just kind of a cool buzzword. Like people weren't talking about it and acknowledging it. Like the average person wasn't acknowledging it like they are today. So when you really think about it, how many deep fakes have we consumed over the past 10 years that we have no clue were fake? But now we're waking up to it because it's in the mainstream.
Right. But that's the point I was trying to get across, right? Like, you know how long we've been talking to robots on the phone, bro?
Yeah.
We've been talking to robots on the phone. Now those robots dictate how we live our day to day.
What we see.
Without us even, we don't even know.
Yeah.
And it starts from as simple as what your Spotify plays you or your Apple Music plays you.
I just question everything now, bro.
Yeah,
like
you should.
you have to,
As
bro.
you should.
You have to. If you're the type of person now that you're just gonna go off something you hear on TV or something you see on the news or something you see on Twitter, and it could be in regards to anything. Like, do your due diligence and do your own research, and don't just blindly comply or blindly accept whatever you see. You know. Just because I'm more the type when I say it won't go in left, like maybe I should go right. I start investigating the opposite, because when everyone's doing one thing, it usually doesn't lead to the.
Where's DJ Zog when we need him?
Damn, bro.
Wait, so then let's bring this back to radio, which I think this is perfect. That's why being authentic on air matters today.
Yes.
Because of all of this distraction and all of this, what's real, what's fake. that's why I think radio right now, you got to keep it 100, man. You have to be vulnerable. You have to be willing to be vulnerable to talk about your life like no other time before. Because I'm not going to keep you with my music. I'm going to keep you because I mess with that dude.
Right, because we all have access to the same songs now at the blink of an eye. So the only way to cut through and stand out is you got to be a real person.
Yeah, man. You have to keep it. You just have to be able to tell your story and mix it in with a delivery that's your timeline.
Right.
Is how I see it.
But you have to do it in 8 seconds because we have no attention span anymore. You know, think about how many times you've been at a conversation with someone and they're going on and you've already tuned them out and you're like,
No, it's crazy you say that. I was watching a movie with a friend and it was an older movie and it seemed so slow. And then I saw a fact where they were talking about the first Fast and the Furious in 1999 and the newest one from last year. The difference in cuts are crazy. Like you nowadays, you got to cut the movie and whatever you're watching so much to keep people engaged and interested.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm there with my 27-year-old girlfriend, and she's like, "Yo, what?" I'm like, "Mijo, I had to like put her on like Paid in Full. Like I got to do this with all the 20-year-old joints I date. We Paid in Full, Scarface. Like you can't be with me and not know these movies, bro."
She sat through Scarface?
Huh?
She sat through Scarface?
No, but I did the Paid in Full yesterday.
Okay.
You know, and then I'm like, you know who Cameron is?
Yeah,
and I'm like, you know, like first movie ever, Merked Out McCoy. That's what Kyle Fife, like, you know, like.
She don't even know.
So it's just our attention spans now. The movies are even like everything has to be. I think that's another reason, bro, in the club why we have to use so many sound effects in the club. Now, if you go into the club now, bro, I don't know if you've been to the club.
I haven't been.
If you go to the club, it sounds like you're in Baghdad, bro. You hear rockets, bombs, horns.
Yeah.
I think because you have to, as a DJ now, do so much
crazy.
to keep people. It's like
my last club experience was at Pilo's a year ago. And this might make me sound old. I was heated at the amount of times there was microphone presence. Because it literally was every song.
Yeah.
But I never thought of it that way. Yeah, I mean, you're competing against people that are just literally.
I was saying,
they're not even dancing, bro. Like,
I was saying this with DJ Conflict too. Is that
man.
back in the days when I would DJ, I would keep my songs like on +3 for the most part when I DJ. Now, as time goes, I'm at like a +5 now. It's like the standard. Sometimes +6. If I go any lower than +6 or +5, I feel like it's too slow and people are getting a little antsy, bro. It's
but also
crazy.
tempo right now needs. Bro, we have the worst tempo right now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible.
Tempo's so slow right now.
Yeah. Damn. Anyway.
Hey, you the real, but that's why, man, credit to DJs, man, the both of y'all, bro, because that's work in real time. That is how do I want to say this? That is a brain game for 3 hours. Like you said it best in one of your past episodes. It's facts. People don't realize that, man. Like you need to be prepped. Yeah. Everything needs to be prepped. And you're going through your Rolodex of the mind of like, man, okay, because you got to keep it going. 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 You got to keep bro, what the anxiety?
More of the brain power goes into what I'm going to say more than what I'm going to play, which is crazy now. Because you got to say creative things now to just keep people engaged, like, you know, but that's what makes you stand out.
Yeah, facts.
That's how you get your rate up as for the DJs that are listening. If you want to get paid more, I think you're going to do it more with picking up a microphone than trying to practice DJing or scratching or you get that right. Be able to blend, but make sure you're getting to a point to where you could develop a personality on a microphone because that's where.
That's facts because like, you know, I will appreciate if at the very least, the DJ knows how to blend two records.
Right.
And if there's personality thrown in there, awesome.
Just be clean, yeah.
Yeah, you don't got to be super technical. I'm not asking you to be scratch bastard,
I'm not a scratch guy, bro. I don't scratch.
Yeah, like,
I'm
bro.
trash. I do one, it's like basketball, one between the legs move. I'm good at that. I'm good at that one move, and I just do that move.
Hey,
like,
that's respectable, though, man.
You know?
That's respectable.
You know what? As we're having this conversation, it's hitting me that, you know, both what's going on in the clubs today and what's happening in radio. It's the same thing. We're talking about the same thing, both with music and with personality. Like it's all the same. People just want to be related to. They want to know that you're a human. We talked about this today when we were kind of critiquing your early Miami on the Rock show, Happy Hour on Power 96. Like people want to know that you're a human. Like long gone are the days of the big radio DJ and the big morning show. Now, if you fuck up a word, I want you to leave that stutter in there because it's relatable. Right. You know? So it's we're talking the same thing. Yeah, you know? It's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
That's real. Shit, I guess we'll plug our social medias, Mijo. We're
at Mijo, please. Mijo, please.
Boom.
At DJ Will Calder on all the platforms, including Threads. I don't know. I'm not really using it.
Yeah, we doing Threads.
Hey, I'm heavy on,
you are the Threads king.
I'm heavy on Threads, bro. But I'm also heavy on Twitter, so it's easy.
I'm anti Threads, man. I'm team Elon, bro.
Hey,
I'm team Twitter. Team
my
X
dog,
now,
I'm right there with you, bro. But you gotta be where the people are at, man. You gotta. But here's the thing, right? The crazy part is that like people like ourselves, whether we like it or not, we have some sort of influence.
Yeah.
So it's just like, man, just use that influence for good and try to be where people are at, man.
Yeah. I feel so many things are getting politicized now, bro.
But we're about to enter into the biggest political year we've ever walked into, man.
It's gonna get spooky, bro.
It's about to get crazy here. Y'all better.
Deep fakes we were just talking about?
Oh my God.
Yeah, man.
Watch out.
Hey, like shouts to my Cubans, prepárate.
Yeah.
Cause it's about to get crazy out here, bro.
Yeah.
And
I will say, you asked me earlier, like, how do I feel coming off the air, not being on the air anymore? I will say that since I've come off the air, I'm not as active on social media. And for my mental state, it's like one of the best things that's ever happened to me. Because I don't have to worry about, it's 3:02 p.m. I haven't posted today.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I just ramped up my social media use. I'm going crazy, bro. I'm trying to like post stories and make headlines and do all that shit too, the editorial shit.
But it's important, man.
It really is.
You need a team, bro. That's the thing, bro. You need a team now.
Yeah, bro. And that's the part I think that people don't understand, like, man, we rock a lot of hats.
Yeah.
And it looks easy. Like, I feel like sometimes they're like, oh yeah, bro, I would wish to have your job. You just talk to people. Nah, bro, but we in here.
Yeah.
Put in work. A lot of work behind that scene.
Radio, you work at least 6 days a week, bro. On that radio, you're
in
most
there.
of the time you're doing a weekend show too. Like if you,
I mean, granted, it's a passion, right? And I think those that do it correctly love it. Yeah, for sure.
We've really put our when I think about the sacrifices I've made, bro, living like doing overnights for like 4 years, like midnight to 6 a.m.
You were doing that live?
Yeah.
Wow, bro.
Yeah,
Shouts
bro.
to you.
Power used to have the overnights
Till
live.
6?
And really develop the talent, bro. Yeah. There were times it was 6, sometimes it was 5.
I did that in Philly, but 12 to 3. I was in there live, but 12 to 3 compared to 12 to 6, bro. That's crazy.
When I was overnight.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. Those are, but that's like the battle scars that you go through to get to where you want to, like.
Hey, and that day part's a vibe too, though, man.
The what?
That like
Overnights?
the overnights,
Oh, yeah.
bro. Do you know the amount of people you could tap into? Like the amount of people that would call up to that radio station. I'm sure here in Miami must have been crazy.
Yeah, bro. I used to do the confession session and
my
have people
God,
just
I love
confess
it. Hell
crazy
yeah.
shit,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
I have what? But yeah, bro. That was.
That's the other thing too that
awesome.
We just don't have that anymore, and it's not just Power 96. Radio in general doesn't have that stomping ground where you can just take a kid off the street like
Artist
they did with
development,
you,
just like
throw them in
labels.
there.
Yeah.
So and again, that kind of goes back to the business and financial aspects of a lot of things, and it's just not part of the plan in a more corporate space that we're in. But that's how we all got started. We all got started by hustling on that overnight shift or just doing whatever you could to get someone to notice you, to welcome you into the radio station and go, here, pull some cards for me. Cards being, the shit you put in and play audio off of,
I'll tell you what, man. Hustle is doing overnight shifts. I'll say this and that's it, right? I used to overnight shift in Philly when I first moved there. I had no car. I would ride my bike 4 miles after that shift at 3 o'clock in the morning, bro. If my mom sees this, Mom, guess what? I definitely got jumped a couple times.
Yeah.
And I still will go to work the next day. Why? Because you love it, bro.
Yeah. I used to have to put the AC to like 90 so I wouldn't get tired, bro. Super Dave used to have dumbbells in there. We used to do bicep workouts like in commercials, like bro, to try to like stay awake, bro. But that built character, and I feel like the work ethic that we have today for sure. Yeah.
Because we've been about it.
Let's just go through real quick, like your biggest I guess to say like your mentor or like your radio, the person that taught you a lot of how you move today.
I don't know, man. Like in retrospect, I look back on my career and every market served its purpose, even though it didn't make sense while I was there. Providence, humble beginnings, right? So I got to work with people like Dan Hunt and Bethany Kent, OGs, right? Philly, had the opportunity to work with them again, but met people like my dude Buster, my man Bonix. I met Will early out there too. I don't know if you remember that night that we hung out.
I do remember that night. Yeah.
And that, because of that transition to sending air checks, transition to we already knowing each other when I was in Maine to get the gig out here. Yeah. Portland, bro, I'll keep it real. I hated my life when I lived in Portland. It wasn't until I accepted, like, this is where I'm at. I need to be
Portland, Maine.
Yeah. I need to be all in on this gig. And as soon as I went all in, Miami came up. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden I was
for a while, yeah.
all of a sudden I was boom. Like, you know, I had a brand, and then in 6 months they're like, wait, you're moving to Miami? Like, who does that? How do you go from Maine to Miami?
That's the radio life a lot of people don't know, bro.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
There's some people that have gone through, like, you know, I look at people like Bootleg Kev, bro. He's been to like 6 stations. He's gone from like Vegas to LA to first Idaho, Tampa, like
Yeah,
whatever. I think it was Idaho or something.
Yeah, he did Idaho. He was on Idaho. Yeah, he was on Idaho.
Boise, right?
But you got to, but
like,
that's the thing. You gotta get your stripes, bro.
Yeah.
Not everyone is fortunate enough to work radio in the city that they were born and raised in and be in it for that long.
You know what's crazy is I always thought about, like, should I move, like, to try to do radio somewhere else and go to it? But I thought to myself, I don't like radio unless it's in Miami. Like it's something I had to come to, like a realization, because I like serving the city more than I couldn't see myself being passionate about serving another city. Does that make sense?
No, I
which is
feel
why
you.
I could never move. Like,
I don't know, man. Like on my side, bro, like I've always looked at it different, because I think that you can learn a lot about yourself and the game by putting yourself in those positions. And I wish that more people took those steps, that leap of faith of just like, you know what? Bump it. Let me go to Idaho.
Yeah.
Bro, you know what it was to be in negative 10-degree weather in Portland, Maine, son?
No, I don't.
Where with the wind chill, it felt like negative 23. That's knives going through your face. But you had to do it. You got to do it.
Yeah, I applaud it. Everyone's path is different. I applaud it for sure.
I felt the same way, actually. You know, when I was coming up in the Midwest, I didn't want to leave. And it just hit me. Like, I can keep just doing what I'm doing in Chicago and Milwaukee radio and be fine with it, or I can challenge myself. And it was 2009 where I said, I got to do something. I felt lost. I didn't feel like my career was going anywhere. I was, you know, production director for Entercom in Milwaukee. I was doing syndicated mix shows that were on, like mix shows all over the country, but my name wasn't on them. It was ghost mixing. I mean, that shit made me a lot of money, but I didn't feel like my identity
ghost mixing? That's crazy. I never heard that before. Like, yo,
Will
ghost mixer? That's crazy.
Will was AI before AI.
Yeah, that's crazy.
No, shit, we had those mixes on like 200 stations at one point.
What?
It was called radio mixes. Yeah.
Wow.
Damn, our first 2 radio stations.
200 stations?
Yeah, our first 2 radio stations were B96 Chicago.
Shit.
And then Kiss FM in Milwaukee, and from there it just exploded. Like, and that's what kept me from full-time radio, because I was doing that and then staying part-time. But then that kind of subsided a little bit, and I decided what's next. So I'm the guy that made the jump from, you know, Milwaukee to New York City, and I did it on a leap of faith. It was kind of like, I don't know where I'm going, I don't know what I'm doing, but I just want to go to New York City and just figure it out. Because at that point, I was going to stay in radio, or I had kind of aspirations to jump to the record side. And the only way I was going to get on the record side was to go to New York. So a buddy of mine was working for a college just outside of Cherry Hill.
Jersey.
He invited me to come work there, $20 an hour, 20 hours a week, to just like do production and air check kids. So I dropped everything I had. I was spinning in clubs in the Midwest. I was, you know, had the radio mixes thing. I dropped all of that and then just basically purged my life and moved to Cherry Hill and started working at this college. And but every opportunity I could, I jumped on the train and went up to New York City. I was trying to get a job at Z100. That didn't work out because my jockeying skills were the old rating system, and I hadn't been trained on PPM yet. So they're like, "Man, you're talking too long. You're doing all that old school wacky jock shit." They didn't want that anymore in New York. So, but in the end, I ended up getting hired at 92.3 now CBS Radio. And when you're talking about who like my mentors were, I think the first time I was really noticed in radio was Dom Theodore, my program director up there, and then Rob Wagman. And then that's where I really felt seen, like, okay, this kid's got something. Like, like my first official music log that I scheduled was a New York City music log. Wow. And I'm like going, I'm in my office looking at the Empire State Building going, okay, we're going to put Jay-Z here. Like, I was just a moment where I was freaking out. That's awesome. And then, you know, Nick Cannon was our morning show. So like, it was amazing getting there.
You only had like 3 kids at the time, right?
No, it was the first 2.
Oh yeah,
it was twins. With Mariah.
What era was this? Like 2 kids.
This was Mariah. Listen, Mariah would call the hotline every now and then and like, you know, say shit to Nick, and we could never talk about it. But anyway, that's another story. But that's where I felt seen and felt like, you know, I can do this. I want to do this, and that eventually led to Miami. But you know, the thing about working in New York City is, it cultured me and got me ready for my move to Miami. If I didn't have that stop off in New York to purge everything in my brain that I had from the Midwest, my take on Miami may have been a little different.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? I may not have been as open to receiving it, because that's one of the things that Pio, when he hired me in Miami, he sat me down and was like, listen, forget everything you know about radio. This is Miami radio. We do things different here. We move differently. Like, and I will always credit him for being the one that was like, get that shit out of your head.
Yeah.
We're going to start over. And I was open to receiving very early on. But again, it was my time in New York that really cultured me, I think, to put me on this journey here. And I'm forever grateful for Dom Theodore, Rob Wagman, Pio Farrow, and that crew.
Yeah, man, it's great to see your come up too, bro. You know, because you started as an APD middays, and now you're controlling multiple stations, bro.
Yeah,
you know,
Just got a big boss,
10 year.
bro.
That's a 10-year. You know,
Yeah, man.
that's how long? How much longer do you see the business of radio just being a thing and being able to be lucrative?
You know, listen, I mean, radio's not going anywhere. I mean, the presentation might evolve. I mean, it's kind of in its evolution process right now. I think it's not just radio. I think the entire entertainment industry, whether it's TV, radio, nightclubs, music, whatever, movies, you know, you got the writer's strike and the SAG strike out there. Like, everyone's sort of figuring out how to maneuver this new space, because to tie it back to AI, you know, we're all sitting here going, well, how can AI affect what I'm doing? How long is it before, you know, when Mijo and I sit down and we do music and I do the daily music log, how long before a little AI plugin does that and I'm not needed anymore?
Right.
So, you know, there's a lot of different things that I think we need to think about. And now's the time where we have to really get more creative on how we present ourselves, and in order to protect the value that we bring to what we do,
Right.
which goes back to being real.
But then you throw in the monkey wrench of like, resources of radio are going down, right?
Yeah.
So it's like the radio in general, the whole industry is kind of like forced to they got to step up with less.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's just, you know.
Well, that's survival of the fittest. Because in the end, you know, when you were at Power 96 before, how many people were on staff?
Like on the on-air team?
Just, yeah. And how
Probably
many people
like
were running
10?
around the building that were Power 96 people only?
Yeah, like 20.
20
Yeah.
when you talk about street team kids too.
Yeah.
Now it's just us. Zog, Evie, me, you, now you got Dee Dee,
But that's every
and
station.
Joanna Gomez. That's the whole station.
The whole industry now, really,
Yeah.
right? Like the whole.
And we, when I just named all those names, we're actually fortunate because most radio stations have way less than that. Like, I also oversee Mix 105.1 in Orlando, and like I've got 3 people there. So it's just, but it goes back to the survival of the fittest. It goes back to the passion, the people that really want to do this and put themselves through this. They're the people that really bleed this passion. And we are going to be the people, hopefully, that take this to the next level and figure out all the shit we got to figure out in every industry that we touch.
Yeah, man, you just can't stop learning. That's the thing. There's too many technological advances where, like, if you're resisting it and you're not riding that wave, you're already doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah.
Like, y'all better learn how to prompt an AI.
Yeah, you better start an OnlyFans. We're going to have a Power 96 OnlyFans too, right?
Straight up. You know, because all those things will just...
Power 96 OnlyFans
It's just going to elevate.
That's nuts.
So let me ask you a question. You know, you have seen the evolution of Power 96. There was a moment when you and I kind of had a falling out.
Right.
And
that's a teachable moment. I bring that up sometimes as far as like never holding a grudge or never taking like a certain time in your life, because it could like timing is everything.
Yeah.
So, you know, never burn a bridge, never, you know, I've learned that. It took me a minute, but I had to mature to really learn, like, don't hold the grudge because things could be different. You know what I'm saying? And things ended up different. You know what I'm saying? And now we're back working together, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean.
So my question is, you know, what about, because I know you've been asking, and I asked you a few times, and you were like, I don't want to come back unless it's like the right move. Like, what made you feel like now's the time to really get back into Power 96?
Okay. I think that the only reason I think it's time for me to go back is because I think it's my time to go back, because it needs something fresh. You know, like I okay, I'm just being complete.
Say it.
No, I just want to be completely transparent. Like, I'm bearish on the trajectory of radio in general. Like, I see the industry as I see it like a slow sinking ship, you know. But I see that while it's sinking, this is so crazy. Yo, I might cut this out. But like while it's sinking, I think it needs something fresh to kind of like close up the hole a little bit. It's not going to close it all the way, but I think you close the hole a little bit. And I feel like I can bring new business ideas on the business side of it. So a lot of it comes from like me missing radio. That's a part of it, you know? And I think that in full transparency as well, like I think I'm in my 20s when I was on the radio, I wouldn't say I was all the way ready. Like I feel like I got really good opportunities too early before I was able to mature.
That's good.
So I could look back and reflect and say that. So I think now that I'm in my 30s, I'm mature enough to do it. You know, I don't know if that makes sense. Like,
bro.
Like to be myself more, you know, like man. I was, but yeah, I think there's, on the business side of radio, I think there's so many opportunities. That's why I'm really into it. You know, like I think, like you said, the radio's working with less. So it's like, you got to think of new ways to be creative and new partnerships and new ways to create content and cater to clients that I think traditional radio is not used to, you know? So I think I could come up with creative ways to just make money. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the key right there is I think bringing people in that have the vision. For those that are listening, I'm pointing to this room right now, this podcast, and you have to have the vision. And when you start creating the vision and you put it out there and people start to consume it, like they have this podcast, you start to realize the potential that when, people talk about radio being whatever it is, but you also forget, like we still have that influence and we're still talking to people that may not be as plugged into technology. So, you know, by you taking your Miami on the Rocks brand and bringing it to Power 96, you're talking to a whole new type of person that may not be as plugged into this. And then you go to the 360 route and you're starting to recycle your audiences all over. Right. And you're bringing your radio audience to the podcast. You're bringing your podcast audience to the radio. And that's where that synergy creates. And now it's our job to take that synergy and blow it up to the next level together with the financial models and sales and all that.
And I think the financial models and like the way the business side is going is getting more like boutique-y with the business dealings. So I feel like, you know, reaching out to those mom and pop stores, you know, like, hey, you want a commercial on the radio and building that as a jock. If a listener or a client sees a jock, you know, building that relationship with them, like, hey, you want to have a commercial on my show? You know, it's more of a personal thing that they would, you know, and
it's got to get back to grassroots, man. We like, I feel like COVID stopped grassroots radio for 100%. A minute. And now it's almost like, okay, we need to get back to this because if we don't, especially in Miami,
right?
If we don't get back to it, it'll just continue to hurt.
Right.
And people want to see results. So when you talk to that little shop, they want to know that, okay, you know what? I've been, you know, fucked by the man too long. Now I want to see the actual results. So you better deliver the results or I ain't fucking with you.
Another reason that made me want to go back to Power as well is that with you telling me all this new data with the research that we got, it proved my hunch correct. Like I had a hunch, like, I think this is what people want. And when you told me, it's like, okay, I wasn't crazy. You know, like, you know, so to go on Power and hear Pretty Ricky grind on me, to hear Usher, You Got It Bad, to hear, you know, the classic Pitbull stuff, to hear, you know, the little cool dance hall reggae stuff in there that is classic Power 96, to hear this it feels good, you know, it feels one. Cause there was a time when I was at Power where I felt disassociated from the brand, you know, like in the pop era, I was like, damn, like I don't feel like I'm at the right station, you know, but now it feels like the right station. I'm very excited about the musical direction of Power, you know, like it feels good.
And to give credit where credit's due, and listen, we have to actually shout out, you know, our corporate bosses at Odyssey that gave us the tools to do that homework to prove you correct.
Right. That's important too, because we all there's a chain of command here, you know? So when the top person at the very top is from Miami, from the market you're serving, that's a plus. You know, a lot of times you're stuck with someone who's not from there and they're not passionate about the city and there's less soul in the decisions, you know? But shit, we've gone an hour and 13 minutes. I appreciate you guys pulling up.
Thank you for having us.
Did we plug social medias?
Yep.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. And then shit, Power 965 on the gram.
That's right. Most importantly, man, Miami on the Rocks happy hour, bro.
I'm excited. I'm excited to do some new things and to try some new things out and try to like create an excitement again, bro. You know, it feels fresh. It feels like a fresh opportunity. You know?
I'll tell you what, man, on the drive down here, I was like, man, sounds good.
I know.
It's a very needed energy that we have lacked for a long time.
Yeah, man. Thank you. I'm excited. I'm definitely excited.
And this was day 2. So imagine 3 months down the road when you get comfortable being back on the
Imagine when you
radio
start
again.
playing "Comi burrito sabanero."
We're almost there.
the on piano remix. Like, that was crazy.
For real though, yeah.
There it is, my man on the rocks. Bow.